Welcome to Firearms of America. Today, as you guys can see, I have another pair of Lowa boots for review. Actually very excited for this one because it was requested so many times on this channel. And finally today I'm bringing you Lowa Camino GTX, and let me tell you guys, these boots are unbelievably good. They are just fantastic. Overall, I would say for all that they offer, all of the protection that they offer, all of the features, they are fairly lightweight, unbelievably comfortable, GTX waterproofing, amazing lacing system, which we will talk in detail later in the review, and the outsole is just great. Honestly, these boots pretty much immediately went into my top 5 best hiking boots that I have ever reviewed on this channel. This is how good they are. The only downfall is the price. Currently they are a little bit over $300. Yes, $300, a little bit more than that. On Amazon, the link is in the description below. You can probably find them a little bit cheaper here and there around the internet if you find them on discount or something like that. But on Amazon, 300 plus. But with everything that they provide, you might see the value. Alright, so if you do have time to watch the whole review, let's get into it. As some of you already know, this is not just your regular, boring, average, stupid review. This review is specifically for my ultimate survival boots section. So if these weren't just your backpacking boots or your hiking boots, but you were wearing them and something bad happened, or maybe you were sitting in the house and you had these boots just laying around and something bad happened, and you had an option to put these boots on, walk out of your house and then walk for miles, run on the way because survival, fight, climb, I don't know, do whatever is necessary. Just think of any kind of survival. Just think about 2020 in general, and I'm sure you will come up with a good survival scenario. Okay? Would this contribute to your survival? Well, you already know my opinion, but let's get into the review. So how do we make the judgment? We make the judgment based on 8 different criteria. Criteria number 1, of course, the comfort level. And in order to test the comfort level of all the boots that I review on this channel, I do a 3-mile run and then a 5-mile walk, no breaks in between, nothing, no stopping. And then I wear the boot for the rest of the day, about 7 to 8 hours wear time total. Like I said, unbelievable comfort level here, and there are a few factors that will take away and contribute to the comfort level. Let's start with the very first one, of course, the weight. Now this is size 10 right here, and let's see exactly how heavy they are. And as you can see, 29.5, a little bit on the heavier side. Now, like I said, whenever it comes to the weight, to give you kind of like a reference number, you want something under 20 ounce if you prefer lightness, if you want to be able to walk for extended periods of time, run, without feeling that fatigue from the weight on your feet. Obviously, this is a little bit more than that, almost 30 ounce, definitely on the heavier side. So you will experience a little bit of that fatigue on the longer hikes, on the longer distances, on the run as well, because you have that weight on your feet. But there are a few other things that we should talk about whenever it comes to the comfort level. Of course, one of them being the inner sole. And let's take a look at the inner sole here. Let me actually take it out because it is very nicely shaped. As you can see, nicely shaped. I do like that heel bed a lot. There is not a lot of cushioning in this inner sole, and not a lot of cushioning, well, in fact there's no cushioning here on the inside as well, so there is no extra layer of anything cushiony. It goes into this very hard rubber, and that takes away a little bit from the comfort level as well. It does have a lot of stuff going on here in the heel to kind of absorb that impact, but still, I wish there was a little bit more cushiony jelly stuff going in the inner sole, and maybe in addition on some other, another level there, another layer of cushioning to give you a little bit more protection from the impact. However, let's get into the stuff now that does contribute to the comfort level. As you can see, the boot has the GORE-TEX lining going throughout the whole boot, and that definitely contributes to the comfort level. It is very soft, very nice and jelly feeling, and it goes pretty much all the way throughout the boot except here at the front of the toe box. So I wish Lowa implemented some of that cushioning here on the inside, but they didn't. So keep that in mind. You want to make sure that you're getting them in the right size, and we will talk about the sizing later. But overall, this right here, I mean, this on the tongue and in the shaft, it just feels fantastic. So pretty good over there. And the very last thing that I wanted to talk about here whenever it comes to the comfort, flexibility of the bottom sole. Surprisingly, for how bulky and thick it is actually fairly flexible. So you can, believe it or not, even though they're heavy, even though they're big, you can run properly in these boots without putting too much stress on your ankles, on your knees. And it's very important because here there isn't much cushioning to, absorb that impact. Keep that in mind. Overall, I think the comfort level is great. However, I think Lowa can definitely do a better job there. If they implemented a little bit more cushioning in the inner sole, that would be just nice. And also some protective inside layer of cushioning inside of the toe box. That would just be, amazing. Of course, that would be nice if they could save on the weight. But of course, with all of the protection that you get, you have to understand that. That's where you lose that lightness. But done with that, let's move on to the criterion number 2 now, the proofing and protection. And of course, this is where these boots really do shine because they do offer sufficient amount of proofing and protection. GTX waterproofing. Now, GTX is not unique to Lowa. A lot of brands that specialize in outdoors, hiking, backpacking, anything more serious, a lot of professional hikers, they prefer GTX waterproofing because it's really good. It's, first of all, it's good for waterproofing, but also it does not take away from the lightness, and it does not sacrifice on the breathability. So GTX is a great waterproofing system. I like it. Now, protection wise, you do have your reinforced toe here with extra piece of rubber going over here. You probably already noticed. Very good. I mean, not composite or steel toe, obviously, but just one step below. Now, this is not soft at all, and it will give you sufficient amount of protection from small objects falling, rocks. If you're backpacking on a rocky road, great protection on the front. Of course, you do have, your protection here in the shaft, sufficient amount of protection as well because you do have the leather piece going. You do have all of this padding, so nicely utilized shaft. A lot of times you will see in mid-size, full-size boots, you will have the whole shaft and it's just going to be some thin piece of materials, almost like what's the point of that shaft. But here you have it. And of course the heel is nicely reinforced as well. Now, going back to the waterproofing, I wanted to mention here, you probably noticed the gusseting on the tongue, and I do like the fact that Lowa utilized most of the shaft length, which is about 6.5 inches, and it's almost 6 inches. It's exactly 6 inches of the waterproofing you have. So Lowa definitely did a great job here. They utilized pretty much the whole length of the shaft for waterproofing. So great. Now, that was the criteria number 2. Let's move on to the criteria number 3, which is the quality and the design features. Now, despite a hefty price tag, these do have a lot of reviews on Amazon, over 100 reviews, almost 5 stars. I mean, obviously, because these are amazing. Quality-wise, you can see, once you take them out of the box, you can see how nicely they are built. They are built like a tank, and the quality is just unbelievably good. Now, Lowa in general is a great brand whenever it comes to hiking outdoor products. This is not my first Lowa review. I have a few other Lowa reviews on this channel. Check them out as well. Excellent boots. They know what they're doing whenever it comes to the hiking, backpacking, outdoors shoe wear. All right. But let's talk about the design features. Here, usually I talk about the lacing system. And like I said, the lacing system is absolutely excellent here. The strings are perfect. They're thinner, round strings, just like I like them. You have one pair of holes, just regular closed hooks, 3 pairs. And then you have 4 pairs of closed hooks. And you also have this button on the tongue, on the front of the tongue, that you can utilize as kind of like an anchor for the hook if you want to do additional cross tightening on it. And this just allows you to have so much variety whenever it comes to having your boots tightened. And for people who don't do any kind of serious hiking or backpacking, it might be like, so okay, what's the point of that? But whenever you have all of these different terrains that you're going through, going up the hill, going down the hill, having this variety of quickly changing where it's tighter and where it is lighter, it just makes a whole lot difference. And this is just absolutely universal. You can literally do anything you want with this lacing system. I absolutely love it. Great job, Lowa, for implementing that. Now, all of the hardware here is metal. Obviously, one of the things that contributes to all the weight on these boots. But, for people who are not fans of plastic hardware, even though I personally never had a problem with the plastic hardware, still nice to know that you have all this metal stuff going. All right, so let's move on to the criteria number 4 now, the outsole, traction and stability. And like I said, this outsole is just phenomenal. Now, this is Vibram. Again, Vibram is not unique to Lowa. There are a lot of other boots, shoes out there that implement Vibram outsole, but honestly, so far, I think Vibram probably one of the best outsoles out there whenever it comes to the hiking, outdoor stuff. Now, as you can see, this outsole is definitely more on the aggressive side. Whenever I do my testing, whenever I do my running, I do it on the variety of different surfaces. So I go to the older asphalt, newer tarmac, then I go into the sand, dry sand, wet sand, dry grass, wet grass, rocky road, some trail surface, and then finishing up on some shiny surfaces like marble and tile. And this outsole is just phenomenal. It has sufficient amount of flatness, more on the aggressive side, which honestly I think whenever it comes to the hiking, backpacking, you'd probably want something like this more on the aggressive side than on the flat side. I mean, it's first of all, it's really this layer of rubber here is very hard. So you do have sufficient amount of protection. Running on sharp rocks was not a problem at all. Excellent grip and stability on slippery surfaces like wet grass, for example, just no problems at all. Handles perfectly. And even the shiny surfaces like marble and tile. Overall, just a very good outsole whenever it comes to pretty much anything that is out there. I do wish that Lowa implemented some ridges here on the sides. Would be nice in case if you ever need to do some climbing. But of course, these are the backpacking boots and Lowa did not think that somebody would ever climb. But just because this is an ultimate survival boot, to give a little bit more of application, right? But whatever, I'm just being picky here. But anyway, let's move on to the criteria number 5. Temperature. Now, these are not insulated. These are not designed to be specifically winter boots, right? Or ice boots or snow boots. However, I have to mention that they will be just fine in the winter. They do have sufficient amount of waterproofing to be good in the winter. They have a very good outsole to handle pretty good in the snow. Now, whenever it comes to the ice, of course, it's hard to say because for ice, there's really not a lot of boots out there unless they're specifically ice boots with some metal spikes on them or something that you can screw those metal spikes in. Then yes, of course. But here, even though they do not have the insulation, you can always implement some insulated socks, and there you go. You have a very nice boot that will handle pretty good in the winter, for sure. Now, whenever it comes to the hotter temperatures, testing here in Florida about 85, 90 degrees weather, definitely great breathability with the GORE-TEX lining on the inside. On the warmer side, of course, for hot temperatures, but honestly, whenever it comes to all of the protection that you get from them, you know, that's really not that bad at all. But let's move on to the criterion number 6 now, which is the sizing. They are definitely true to the size. One thing that I always mention in the sizing section is that you want, whenever it comes to your hiking boots, your hunting boots, all kind of boots, whatever boots they are, work boots, doesn't matter. Even the trail running shoes, you want half a size bigger. So if your normal sneakers, if your normal shoe size, dress shoes is, let's say, 9.5, you want something in the size 10, so you can have a little bit of that extra space in the front of the toe box. You need that whenever it comes to the hiking stuff, especially because going up the hill, going down the hill, if you don't have that extra space, if your toe is touching the front of the toe box, that is guaranteed fatigue right there. Now, this is not something that I came up with. This was a good recommendation from one of my friends who does hiking pretty much for a living, and yeah, that was a game changer for me, so keep that in mind. Now, whenever it comes to the, you know, like I said, they do run true to the size, so you don't need to worry about, you know, adjusting to that, because sometimes you have boots that you get the half size bigger, but then they come in and they're a little bit, you know, still too tight. So that's why one of the reasons I like Amazon is because you can buy stuff and then, you know, if it doesn't fit, you can return it, get it exchanged. One of the good reasons about it. But let's move on to the next criterion, which is criterion number 7, balance of application. So if these really were your ultimate survival boots, right? Something bad happened, you were wearing them, or they were laying inside of your house, and you put them on, you left your house, and now you had to walk for miles, for days, without taking the boots off, you know, on the way, just doing all of these random things, I don't know, hunting, fighting, climbing, whatever's necessary to survive. Would they be good? Would they contribute to your survival? Honestly, definitely one of the best options out there, with all of the protection, with all of the features, with even how comfortable they are, even though surprisingly with the inner sole not having enough of cushioning. Honestly, I don't know, it doesn't really make sense. I would expect it not, I mean, just touching it like this and touching it like that, I would expect it to be way less comfortable, way more stiff and uncomfortable than these boots actually are. Just the comfort is unbelievable. I don't know how they did it, but I know they could do a little bit better if they did implement a little bit more cushioning. So Lowa, if you guys are watching it, hey, maybe you can do a Camino 2.0. Yeah, but with all of the comfort level, with all of the proofing, I think this is really an excellent option whenever it comes to having it as ultimate survival boots. Not just your hiking boots, not just your backpacking boots, but ultimate survival boots. Probably in my top 5 right now of all the boots that I have reviewed on this channel. That's how much I like this boot. But let's move on to the very last criterion here, which is the price. Now, I think this right here is probably the biggest downfall of these boots because they are so pricey. $300 above dollars. I think, let me think, is it the most expensive boot that I have reviewed on the channel? Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the most expensive boot that I have reviewed on this channel. 300 plus. Now, like I said, if you look around, you can probably find boots, these boots a little bit cheaper here and there with some discounts going, but it's going to be pretty close, all right? And like I said, the link is in the description below for Amazon if you want to check it out. Now, speaking of competition in this price range, yes, there is some very serious competition in this price range. Like, for example, stuff from La Sportiva, stuff from Salomon. Hey, just take Salomon Quest 4D3 GTX. Also GTX, also full-size boot, also unbelievable comfort, also excellent outsole. So and they're cheaper. They're cheaper. They run for about 240. Still expensive, but cheaper than these. So I know I didn't make it in the end easy for you to make your decision, but that's the whole point of the review, for you guys to find the right stuff for you. So check out other reviews. I have them on this channel. Now, if this review was useful to you, please do consider subscribing. Please hit the like button. That's really all you can do to help me out, to support my channel. That's really all I need from you, right? And thank you very much, guys, for watching. If you have any requests for reviews, you can drop them in the comments below. I always look out for those, and if I find stuff that is requested, I get it as priority to bring it to you. Alrighty, guys, thanks for watching. This was Firearms of America, and I'll see you guys in the next video.